What up, though, Culture Junkie Nation? It's your boy Kenshiro. We're back with another great episode of Culture Junkies Live. So today is all about The Mandalorian and The Last of Us. We're going to be doing both beloved shows, doing our recaps. One is at the halfway point. One is already finished as of 2 weeks ago. So looking forward to talking about that. But we're also going to be doing our free giveaway at some point today, and it is eligible for everyone that is in the viewing audience. So make sure you stay locked right here for the rest of the hour for your chance to win. To my right is the gaming junkie extraordinaire and the man with the salt and pepper beard.
Oh, yeah. Salt and pepper. All I need left is the garlic. Oh, probably smell like garlic now.
Wait a minute. Garlic? I don't know if anybody wants a garlic beard.
Oh, it seems like...
Unless you're a vampire hunter. Maybe you want that.
Salt, pepper, and garlic, the three combinations of tastiness.
Jeez. All right. And sitting yeah, that should get clipped. Sitting across from me is movie junkie and all around great dude and Empire aficionado, GQ.
It was consensual.
All right. I don't need to say anything more. Joining us across from the digital realm, Sam Taro and Fallen Marvel are here. Hello.
Hey, friends.
It's been a while.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah. It's been too long. Yes, it has been too long. But you
Glad
know,
to have you back though.
yes.
Need
Yeah.
that energy back.
Yeah, need that. Yes. She brings great energy. You're right. So if this is your first time joining us here on Culture Junkies Live, thank you for choosing to spend the next hour of your evening with us. For the next 45 minutes, we'll be covering the main topics of the show, obviously The Mandalorian and Last of Us. But the last 15 minutes is dedicated to you in the Power is Yours segment, where we will talk about anything under the sun that you guys want to talk about, whether it be movies, games, sports, anime, relationship advice. I need to come up with another analogy for relationship advice because that's like we've been doing that since February. So I need to come up with a new shtick for that one. In any case, let's also talk about how the show is powered. So you got the meters up here. Obviously, you can see the left meter is our follower goal, which we have reached, which signifies that we're doing a follower goal today. So our follower giveaway today. The meter to the right is the extra life meter, whereas if you fill that one with the requisite amount of bits, then you will also tack on an extra 15 minutes to the end of the Power is Yours, thereby extending the show where we talk more about what you guys want to talk about just because you don't want the conversation to end. I want to thank you for Druid Geek 01 for following the Culture Junkie Nation. Appreciate you for being here. Okay. Now they are also eligible for the giveaway.
For the giveaway.
That is awesome.
Chat or something to get the giveaway?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, as long as you put one message in the chat, you're eligible for the giveaway.
So you basically got to contribute and
contribute to the show. That's right. We don't reward lurkers. No,
You know
I
what?
shouldn't say that.
Lion tastes good. Let's go get some more lion.
I was just getting ready to say we don't reward lurkers here. So we want participation. More participation is the better. All right, y'all. Let's get to the main part of the show. Let's kick it off like we always do with Run the Gamut. So first and foremost, we were all heartbroken last week to hear about the sudden passing of actor Lance Reddick, obviously known from the John Wick movies, from The Wire, from Oz, from what was that movie with it was a J.J. Abrams show, I think it was. Start with F. Fringe. Yes. Really great actor, fellow culture junkie, because he was into like martial arts movies. He was into video games. He was an avid Destiny player. That's something I didn't know.
Yeah.
I did not know that he was like super into Destiny.
Character.
Yeah.
In Destiny.
Yeah, I didn't. But he like, dude, they said on the day he died, he was playing Destiny, like earlier in the day. That was something else. Obviously, the tributes have been flooding in. The red carpet for John Wick 4, which comes out later this week. The red carpet, Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu Reeves, both of them just said how heartbroken they were to lose him. Just a really great actor,
absolutely.
really great voice. Yeah. His Funny or Die skit as the Toys R Us manager or whatever, absolutely hilarious. If you haven't seen it before, absolutely hilarious. You definitely need to check that out. So,
Type F for respect.
100. Type F for respect. You know, we send our thoughts and prayers are with his loved ones, his families, and his friends. Moving right along to something else that died. The further death of the Shazam franchise. I think it's pretty much DOA now. Like Shazam 2 bombed so bad.
Worse than Morbius.
It was worse than Morbius, a movie we all knew was going to be bad. And it couldn't even outgain that. But news came out, I think it was like yesterday or a day before, that there's a lot of finger pointing going on, and the blame is being pointed right at the burly shoulders of one Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, saying that his ego was so large and got in the way that he not only nixed cameos in Black Adam for Shazam to be in Black Adam, probably, you know, over the Superman cameo, but he also nixed the possibility of there being a cameo in Shazam 2 where the Justice Society was supposed to show up.
You know,
and maybe Black Adam being there.
I know we don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on it, but I got one farting thing to say
Go
about
ahead,
this,
man.
because the man is a wrestler. And in wrestling, from my understanding, you have to lose occasionally to further the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been watching his TV show called Young Rock, where he's trying to come off as some really pious type, you know, individual, which I'm pretty sure him growing up, he probably wasn't. But he told a story about how his mom and his grandmother stopped talking to each other because a promoter that his grandmother hired was putting the belt on him and pushing himself and all this other stuff, not listening to family and coming in between. And it sounds like he's doing that exact same thing. Like, how you tell a story and not learn a lesson from the story, and you're literally doing the same thing that this person apparently was doing to your family back in the 80s or whatever.
Money changes people, power corrupts, and it tastes good.
Apparently it does.
Life lessons.
That's a hell of a line. I have to admit.
And what I find is it's farting hilarious to me, because, like, I don't see how somebody can come off humble and pious and sound like that, but then do the exact same thing. That seems very two-faced.
That's life.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Well, Zachary Levi did the somewhat unprofessional thing and kind of put it out there and put it on blast and kind of said the truth will set you free in an Instagram story. So he's throwing shade at The Rock as well. Probably not a smart move on his part. But The Rock himself has not said a single word about this whole thing. Who knows if he even will, or if he'll just kind of leave it in the past. We'll have to just keep an eye on that later. So obviously, if in gaming news today, maybe you guys missed, there was the State of Unreal that came out, kind of doing some tech demos for the Unreal Engine 5 and some other stuff. But also, Valve unleashed on us Counter-Strike 2, the official sequel to Counter-Strike Global Offensive, a game that's been out for 20 years and has not gotten a sequel. But it has become an esport darling. It's amazing. It's gone 20 years. It hasn't gotten a sequel, but has remained just as popular, even like more popular than when it first came out. So now we got a brand new sequel, and it's limited. It's in a limited beta, so some people can play it, other people can't. But the full free version of Counter-Strike 2 will be out later this year in the summer. So look forward to that if you're into Counter-Strike. I've never really been into Counter-Strike, so I'll probably pass on it. And last but not least, a couple other things. So the trailer for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always came out today. Did anybody get to see it? I wonder if anybody got to see it. I saw it. Yeah.
yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. It looks interesting. It looks better than I thought it was going to look. But, you know, you just couldn't help but feel this gaping hole where Jason David Frank was, right? Like he should have been a part of it, but obviously he can't. But also having no Austin St. John and no Amy Jo Johnson, that's just weird. Like it just something about it just feels wrong to me.
Well, it's speculation when Austin. I think like it's a situation to where he's still dealing with that PPP loan scandal, so he probably can't leave the country. So,
I mean, maybe you didn't have to phrase it as PPP loan because that sounds weird, but I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying.
Whatever the case may be, so it's that. And Amy, I know like they reached out to her, but apparently they couldn't like come to an agreement on something, because I know she's a producer and shit now. So it's like, it's like, hey, if I'm gonna take time to do this or whatever, it's like, hey,
yeah.
So I don't know,
All right.
but
And they couldn't find anybody to look like Rita Repulsa, the actress who passed away. I mean, a few years ago,
They
couldn't find
probably
anybody
didn't want to
look
be
like that.
disrespectful, just like they won't put Tommy in this thing. Yeah.
Didn't they not get an actress that looked like Rita in later Power Rangers? And I'm not talking about the Japanese one. I'm talking about there was like the American side, and there was
I remember
Rita.
Yeah, she was like that was a Latina actress.
Yeah, that looked like that actress. Like they couldn't. Whatever.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't know. They lost my interest with those 4 words: Mighty Morphin Power Ranger.
Yeah. So
Like,
I mean,
zero
yeah.
interest.
So anyway, also that came out today is DC Titans final season. The back half trailer came out. We got our first look at Brother Blood, who actually looks pretty good, and the new Robin suit for Tim Drake, which actually looks pretty good too. Say what you want about Titans, the show may be completely trash, but the suits look incredible. I will give them credit for that.
It's not hard to make Batman suits, though.
I mean, it's a Robin suit, so
that's what I'm saying. It's not hard to make his outfit. His outfits are very simple,
I guess, but still,
I think aesthetically, this is probably like the best live action one so far, even more so than
the movie one.
Grayson one. Grayson's the one he had at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, like it just was something about it just wasn't memorable. Maybe it was because I don't know.
No nipples. As long as you take the nipples off, you're
no
good.
nipples. This guy.
We were trying to stay away from the bad nipples, but okay.
All right. And lastly, and a little bit of anime news. You may or may not be paying attention to this little show called Boruto. But the manga of Boruto is actually really starting to get pretty interesting. You may or may not know of the somewhat main antagonist, or the guy who's filling the Sasuke role in the Boruto manga, Kawaki. He has managed to go beyond Sasuke's heel turn, and he has rewritten history to where he has now switched places with Boruto, where Kawaki is Naruto's son, and Boruto is an outsider, an outcast, an enemy of the Hidden Leaf. It's actually really, really interesting what they managed to do. So I'm starting to get into it a little bit, I have to admit.
So he's Eobard Thawne.
In a way. I mean, he didn't himself do it. He used a device, for lack of better terms, because I'm not trying to spoil it, but he used a method to kind of switch places with Boruto. So it's pretty interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that whole thing resolves, because that's actually kind of interesting. So
they're dragging it on.
What's that?
So they're just dragging it out.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. They ran out of ideas, so they just dragging it out.
Yeah. So we shall see. All right, guys, let's move on to the main part of the show. Segment 1. The Mandalorian has reached the halfway mark of its 8-episode third season. So while it's still enjoyable, the ratings are down overall from season 2, which is interesting. The episodes themselves have felt a bit different than seasons past. So let's chat about the season so far and what's been great and not been so great. So first, what have you guys thought about the season so far? Like, what have been some of your favorite moments?
I'll go first if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've honestly really been enjoying the things that they've touched on in this season. Like, I think up to this point, there have been a lot of like really cool factor moments and like highlighting other characters, but I really like how they're really showcasing the Mandalorian culture in this season.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's really helpful for people like me that are kind of casual fans, so like don't really know the ins and outs about everything. So learning that I thought was really cool, and learning their customs, how they start and taking the oath and all that kind of stuff. And I thought that was really cool. And honestly, I think it really seems like they're filling in a lot of backstory, because even today's episode goes into a lot with Grogu's backstory, which I didn't expect. So
yeah,
I'm like, okay, I'm digging where this is going. So so far I really do like the bit of a kinship that they've had with Bo-Katan this season, which was kind of unexpected. I thought that was actually kind of cool how that sort of flipped on itself, because like They kind of showed like her basically just by her being, deserted, with she being the last one, kind of trying to hold down the fort and all that, and she felt lost, and helping Jin Djarin or whatever redeem himself. And it's like, going through that whole thing, going back to the Covet, it's like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. So I'm enjoying it so far, man. I think it's really, really great storytelling so far.
Okay. Let's hear from GQ. You're the Star Wars guy. What do you think of the increased focus on Grogu this season?
I don't mind. Here's what people have to understand about Grogu. Everybody's all, oh, they're gonna cute it up. They're gonna make the show, ruin the show because they brought Grogu back. Here's the thing that people have to understand about Grogu. Grogu is the future of Star Wars and the Jedi's legacy because of the fact that he's a Yoda. Yodas are long-lived. He's basically going to be the next Grand Master. If he ever goes back to learning the ways of the Jedi, he's going to be the next Grand Master of the Force, because who else is going to outlive him, basically, unless he's killed.
Yeah.
So he as a character is important just because of that. I don't really have a problem with it. I'm enjoying it. A lot of people said last week's episode was lackluster because it was this long, drawn-out thing about the Doctor. And I'm like, well, there's nuance in that story if people are paying, close attention. So it's like, I think what it is, and I'm glad we're doing a 4-episode recap instead of a episode-by-episode recap, because I think that's where people trying to put out content and review stuff as it happens lose the bigger picture. It's like, oh, I'm going to critique this one page of this story. It's like, well, that's not really enough to critique the entire story as a whole. So yeah, I'm enjoying the season so far. I'm loving the fact that they're going around different characters and bringing in stuff about different characters. Out of the chat, Hand of Omega brought up that Bo-Katan obviously handles the Darksaber much more competently than Din Djarin does, because it used to be hers. That's one part of it. The other part is she's not fighting against it because she's wielded it before. She understands that, she believes in it, so the saber is better for her. Also out of the chat, Preem brought up the news that Favreau was going to quit working on Mandalorian due to Kathleen Kennedy insisting that Grogu be brought back for that part of Book of Boba Fett. Whatever. They're storytellers. They can figure it out. They can make it work.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Well, I haven't. That's the first I've ever heard of anything like that.
Over here!
Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Crash B6678. Appreciate that for the follow. Welcome to the discussion. Dido, so we've talked about Bo-Katan's emergence.
He's beginning to believe.
Thank you for the resub. Marcus 864.
Marcus.
A lot has been made about Bo-Katan's I guess elevation from an ancillary character. Do you feel like that's a good thing, bad thing? Like what's the deal?
I think it's a good thing, mainly because of the storytelling that's going on. It's something. It's not going to be smooth. What you call it? It's going to be like some kind of struggle for power. Something's going to happen because Bo-Katan, I think, thinks it's a birthright of hers to lead the Mandalorians. And now that she has like a new family, I think she's gonna try to, because they showed it in the episode that now you're the leader of this. What you call it? You had a right to eat by the fire. So that something bigger is gonna happen. I see that. My biggest question is how'd that kid survive? Because there's two things.
Bro. Yes.
The claws right there should have killed it. And him being swallowed. Like, anything about birds, they eat it and then they regurgitate it.
Right.
Not live.
Well,
but
maybe
whatever.
that's a little bit different. And also you got to remember, birds can actually carry their eggs in their claws. So if it can carry something as delicate as an egg, it can carry a person.
Yeah,
it's not going to be, now granted, he ain't going to be unscathed. But
it did nothing.
Okay, the writing problems of this episode aside, because there were many. There was big plot hole writing problems in this episode. We'll forgive all of that.
Yeah.
Sam, if you watched Mando at all this season,
I have.
So are you? How do you feel about the detour away from the principal characters? Like GQ brought up the whole episode 2 and how they detoured and talked about the Doctor and I forget Leah Kane, I think it is.
Yeah.
And the focus on Coruscant and its history and stuff like that too, and showing the New Republic government. What did you think of the detour? And do you find that boring, or were you okay with it?
It was cool. I feel like it's adding so much more depth to this. I mean, Star Wars, the universe is literally insanely huge. So to see this very different atmosphere of the city was so cool. I mean, at first I was like, oh, I don't want to know about these characters. I don't care. But then I like sat in it and I was like, okay, I'm watching it. And you know what? It was really interesting. And like the betrayal at the end of that episode, I was literally sitting there like, oh, what? So it got my attention. And I don't know, this season is kind of feeling like backstory DLC to me so far. Not in a bad way. Just you're really getting like character development, especially with like Bo-Katan. I like really disliked her. She was giving me the mean girl vibes, and I was not here for it. And I really enjoyed that. You know what? She got up off her little throne to help Mando, and it was great. And I hope that she gets some more like character development going forward, because she could be a likable human.
I think what's going on with Bo-Katan is, and you notice it really is more in this episode, is she's starting to buy in to basically the Mandalorian way, like the more strict Mandalorian way, because when she saw that mythosaur, that shook her to her soul. She was like, oh, all this stuff my dad was trying to shove down my throat is based on some reality? Okay, yeah. So I even like just that nuance of her really wanting to respect the helmet thing. And that also answered a question a lot of people had. Like, well, at some point, you got to take that damn helmet off to eat. Not everything can be liquid diet. So at some point, you are going to bring fork to mouth and eat a steak or something. So you ain't getting that underneath that pressurized helmet. So I thought that was really cool that they even at least address this. Like, no, we all go off somewhere, take our helmet off and eat. So I was like, okay, fine. At least you addressed something that was bugging the hell out of me since Boba Fett. It's like, dude, does this dude ever take this thing off and eat? Like, what the hell? So I thought that was actually really cool that they did that. So even, so I like the nuance that they're doing with her character, because we know Din's story. We know we've been rocking with him since season 1.
Right.
There is no problem bringing in some other characters and letting them shine for a minute.
Yeah.
It's still his show, but come on now.
And I don't know. And honestly, something about this episode made me start to think that maybe, even though the show is called The Mandalorian, maybe it is about Grogu and him becoming a Mandalorian. It very well could be, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. So with that being said, right? So I would love to hear, as we wrap up this topic, what are some of you guys' predictions for the rest of the season? Go ahead, Dado.
Well, predictions is that we're going to get a lot more action, a lot more great storylines, and we're going to enjoy it. It's not going to be the Book of Boba Fett, but we got to give shout out.
The shade of the Book of Boba Fett. Damn.
Sorry. You think it would have been this same type of show because it's coming from whatever. But you got to give shout out to the redemption that happened for my best.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
Jar Jar's actor actually got a really good Jedi sequence.
Awesome.
That was cool.
Now, see,
I really thought that was cool.
Until that happened today, I had no idea.
Now, dog.
Indeed. Until that happened today, I had no idea that the character that he played was a Jedi. Was a Jedi that he played in kind of a kid show that that nobody even.
I didn't know anything
I knew
about
nothing
it.
about it,
I was
right?
like, whoa.
Like, knew nothing about it. But that's really cool. I'm glad you did that, because man, the fans of those Star Wars fans, and I mean literally in quotes, those Star Wars fans were literally killing this dude. It's crazy.
It made his life horrible.
I mean, the thing is, and again, that goes back to the problem I have with parts of fandom. It's just like, look, we get that you like this stuff. At the end of the day, this is still somebody's job. This is still somebody's passion. This is still somebody's, story or whatever. You don't own it.
Right.
You cannot control it. You are just there to watch it, love it or hate it, and then go about your day. And
leave the actors alone afterwards. Like
exactly, it's like, dude,
jeez.
Everybody in this chat, even all of those fans will give their left testicle, or if they don't have testicles, probably kill one of their family members to be in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
So let's stop acting as
you
if
in these extremes, man.
It helps you remember it. It helps you remember it. No, but let's be real. All of us would love to be in a Star Wars film, whether it's under the Disney regime or George Lucas or whatever. I'm picking up a lightsaber and I'm going to be happy that I'm wielding a lightsaber in a film. I don't give a damn who is signing my check. I'm in Star Wars and that lives on forever. Get the hell out of here.
Right.
Any other predictions for the rest of the season? You want to follow up on that? Be my guest.
Well, I think it was Preem that said it in the chat that he thinks someone's going to ride the Mythosaur before the end of the season.
100.
That would be cool.
I can see that.
That would be cool.
I can see that.
But I mean, honestly, I don't know. Like, I'm always fairly terrible at like predictions for TV shows unless it's painfully obvious.
What would you like to happen then?
I don't know. I can't answer it right now. Like, it's hard. I can't.
It's fair enough.
I'm just having a good time so far, and I'm just along with it. So.
And there's nothing wrong with that either.
So you're gonna come back with your predictions sometime in September?
After it's over.
Wait a minute, it's going that long?
No, it's not going that long.
Oh, I'm about to say.
We only got 4 more weeks.
Right, they don't have that many episodes of this season to go.
Yeah, only 4 more weeks, unfortunately. So we'll have to.
As long as it's not just 6 episodes.
We'll have to see. All right, guys. So we're gonna take a quick break, 30 seconds. If you are a sub,
Hilarious that you think it's 30 seconds.
Well, it is kind of like
45.
Oh, 45.
Well, okay.
All right.
So in any case, if you were a sub to the show, you wouldn't, you would miss the ad roll. But in any case, we're going to play a message for our patrons. Be back in 30 or 45.
The entire Culture Junkies crew would like to thank you for tuning into our programming. We hope you are enjoying our content as much as we enjoy making it. One thing that helps us continue bringing you our unique content is viewer support. By visiting the Culture Junkies Patreon page, you will have the opportunity to select the support level that works best for you. Not only will your support help keep the Culture Junkie Nation growing, but you will make yourself eligible to receive patron-exclusive swag. Please take a moment to consider supporting us and join the ranks of the supporters you see listed on the screen. We would like to also give a special shout out to our Culture Junkies level and above patrons: DeMarcus Smith, Fab Nerd Life, Nanette, The Other Steve, and Black Crowned Knight. Remember, for as little as $1 a month, you can support a Culture Junkie. Thank you.
All right, y'all. We want to once again thank our patrons. If you would love to do that, please go over to our Patreon and give us a sub. It's only going to cost you $1. It's really cheap, and it's worth it. I promise you. All right, guys, let's get into The Last of Us. The Last of Us Season 1 wrapped up, I think it was 2 weeks ago now. Right?
About 2.
About one and a half weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
1.5 weeks.
Call
All
it
right.
2.
Yeah. So about 1.5 weeks ago, it wrapped up. Obviously, it was a smash hit show. Like, the ratings for that show grew every week that it was on. Like, the premiere was a big number, and every week subsequently grew by at least 1 million, if not more. That's stuff that had happened since early days of Game of Thrones. That's how big of a hit it was. So what's everybody's thoughts about the show as it was wrapped up, like the entire first season? I would love to hear from the people that played the game, or didn't play the game, excuse me, and just watched the show like I did. Like who didn't play or didn't finish the game before they watched the show? Anybody on the panel?
Yeah, I finished it before I watched it.
You finished it before you watched it? What about you, GQ? Did you?
The second episode.
Did you play it?
Nope.
At all?
Okay,
so
I own them all. Didn't play them.
Yeah. So, what did you think of the show from a perspective of someone that didn't play the game at all?
I liked it. I understand that there was obviously stuff that they changed because you have to. There's going to be certain things that you play, 100% homage to, and that's great. As a show, they did a really good job making you enjoy every single character they put on screen. They made you actually have an emotional reaction to all the characters that they put on screen. Even with those 2 kids, I forgot their names, but the 2 kids in that one city, they got you to care about them in one episode. They got you to care about their entire arc in a single episode. Same thing with was it Bill and Frank? They got to just care about them in one episode. That there are movies that I've seen where you watch the characters like, they died, so what? I honestly do not care. Like don't care. I've been walking with you for 2 hours in this movie, and you died. It's like whatever. They were able to within an hour in a lot of instances get you to really truly invest in these characters, care about them, and actually feel something when like something happens to them. That to me is storytelling at its finest, and that's something that a lot of franchises, a lot of shows and movies could actually do well to remember. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be getting the people to feel and care and react to whatever it is that you're putting on screen. And Last of Us, man, they did a great job all the way around from beginning to end. Perfect casting for a lot of the people. Obviously Pablo Pascal's getting his serious money in banking. You're getting Star Wars checks, you're getting HBO checks, getting DC checks. I mean, you're getting checks everywhere. So hats off to that man. The girl that played Ellie with her 5 head. She did a good job though. She did a great job.
Lady Mormont.
For real.
From the Game of
Yes,
Thrones.
Lady Mormont. She'll always be Lady Mormont to me.
Right. No, she did a great job in the sense that from being, she had the brattiness and the annoying kid there, but then once certain things happened, you saw her character truly take a turn and basically, mature and just and even the episode where, my man tried to assault her, the rage that she felt, you just sitting there like, yeah, hit him again.
Yeah.
Like you are legitimately cheering for her to beat this man's face in.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get me to really care and invest. And Last of Us did it all the way across the board.
Yeah.
So,
I felt that more in the show than I did in the game because I played that part in the game first, and I was still shocked in the game. Like I was just like, oh, because you're actually playing
as that character,
in the game, and you have to defeat him, but that part becomes a cutscene, and I was just like, oh my goodness! But then when I saw it in the friggin', I was like the chills. Like man, it was even more. It's like they put more humanistic. I don't know what word. It just felt more real.
They made you feel like that's exactly what I would do if I was in that situation.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They made you empathize with her 100%, and I think that's what made that so good, basically.
And I also agree.
Right, Sam. What's your take on the first season?
I love it. I love it so much. I watched it with my parents who never played the game, and
Interesting.
Oh, so even like up to the last episode, I felt like personally I was in a strapped into a roller coaster ride that I couldn't get out of, even though I knew it was going to crash. It still felt like shocking when it did. They did such an amazing job with this season. They played true to the things that were really important in the game, and they left you like little. If you did play the game, they left you so many Easter eggs. Like Ashley Johnson being in that last episode, I was screaming.
Yeah.
I was like, this is full circle, man. They really did a great job with this. And I hope they continue to do a good job with the next one.
I believe they will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the producer, she doesn't play video games.
Often. She does.
Okay, excuse me. I'm sorry. Let me amend that statement. Let me rephrase.
Talking about extremes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase. She does. She just
gets addicted to one at a time.
She just gets addicted to one at a time.
Don't get mad because I'm a monogamous.
Hey,
wow. Actually, that's good. Right. So I'm sorry, producer. I don't have the toggle over here for your camera, so you're gonna have to hit 6 and put yourself on the screen.
I'm the polyamorous gamer.
There she is.
So look into the camera and talk and let him.
Well,
let
the microphone's here, so I just gotta lean this way.
Bring it over. Bring it over.
I mean, it moves. It can move a little bit.
Move a little bit, yeah.
No, literally move it. No, anyway, go ahead.
Okay, anyway, yeah. So I watched Dido play the game, and then I watched the show. Well, I haven't seen the last episode, but I've seen a few episodes. It's really good. I like how the show takes NPC characters and gives them more nuance. Like instead of it just a slash and kill, then it actually gives it made it more humanistic. Like there was one scene in the second episode where some guy went from trying to kill Joel and Five Forehead to
Five Forehead.
Oh,
What
yeah,
the
yeah,
hell? Five Forehead. What the hell?
What's her name? Ellie.
Or also her real name, Bella Ramsey.
Yeah,
Sorry.
shit.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ellie. I'm sorry. Not really. Anyway, but yeah, the guy went from trying to kill them in the store to I don't know, saying I have a mom, I have this, my name is that, trying to, make himself really relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't matter at the end.
Didn't matter.
No, didn't matter at the end.
It was good. It was a good show.
No, it was. Fallen. So you didn't watch the show, but you played the game, at least parts of it. So when you hear them talking about all of this, and how excited for you were as a person who knows about the story, but didn't really didn't really even finish the game, but now you have this show that you have to watch that you missed out on in a way.
I mean, seeing the reception for it really is a breath of fresh air, knowing that this show has gone so over it as it is. So with something that's been as, I won't even say polarizing, but Last of Us had a way of really latching on to people in a way that arguably no other game really has. To be, I mean, outside of probably like the Walking Dead Telltale games, that's literally like the only other game that I think is revered as much as Last of Us. So
good point.
Really knowing that people love this show the way that it does make me look forward to finishing the game before watching it, because like I think like because for one, I'm glad they follow it close enough to where it does justice to the source material.
Yeah.
So that's my thing, is like, you can do whatever you want as long as you're respectful to the source material. Cool. Like you can veer off, whatever the case may be, but just respect the source. So, but with that said, the fact that everyone it's been essentially universally loved, like, it gives me a lot of relief that they didn't waste their time with this at all. So and at the same time, that's going to make me wonder about what else other companies have in store, because this show kind of set the bar.
Yep.
So I mean, like, because with Gran Turismo coming, and now like they're doing they're supposed to be trying to do a God of War series on Amazon at some point.
Oh, that Tetris movie that's going to drop on Apple, I think, soon. So there's that as well.
No, Tetris
That's
is
about
actually
That's just about the game.
But I thought it was a fabricated true story.
It's about how Tetris. Nintendo got Tetris. It's because it's a big. I read about the story before that whole thing. It's about how they went into Russia, talked to Alexei, what's his name,
Pedrowski or whatever,
and tried to get that game out, and Nintendo to hold the right. It was a very complicated thing. So.
Okay,
which is hilarious. That's becoming the new thing. Is like now they're talking about how they did Tetris. Now we're going to talk about how they did the first Air Jordans. It's just like, come on now. It's like all the stuff we grew up with has become like, true
Stories
fuel for biopics and whatnot. So we're getting old.
Right. We're getting the origin stories of the things that we loved as younger people. That's the next evolution. All right. So
Now you're asking me to mask my emotions because of how it makes you feel. That I will not do.
So one of the things that I did want to talk about in regards to this show before we get into, what the future of the show is going to look like. We talked about the creative license that was taken with the show this season. We brought up the whole Bill and Frank episode. But a lot of the story, or a lot of the game has been focused on not only you fighting fireflies and, trying to survive, but you end up facing clickers and, and other cordyceps monsters. And we didn't really get that this season. Like, we got it in spurts, but not nearly as much as you would if you were playing the video game. Was that a little bit of a lost missed opportunity, do you guys feel?
I have things to say about this.
No, please. Sam, take it.
All right. So I've played both of the games, and The Last of Us is okay, I feel like the cordyceps is the situation, right? It's like the base, but that's not what the games are about.
Mhm.
And they were never about that.
Mhm.
It's the atmosphere that they provide, but the games are about this connection that people come to during this, ending world, this hopeless world. It's about building connections and perspectives and the things that you would do in these serious situations when your loved ones are on the line. It was never about the zombies. The zombies are just a feature.
Mhm.
So I don't think they lost anything, because especially if you played the second game, it's not about the zombies. It's
Yeah.
about the people.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
always been about the situations of people, what happened, how they get into this situation. When you're traversing in the game, they got to give you something to do.
Right.
So of course you got to run across certain people. You got to run across certain, infected. But yeah, it's not. You could take most of that out and still have this, which they did. You saw the big horde, and that
Right.
did happen in the game.
Right.
It didn't happen like that, but it
Right.
did happen in the game.
But that was a great part of that was a great part of that
It was a
episode.
very
Yeah.
good part of the game. But like there was, other parts. Like I do hope they put in Rat King for season 2. That needs to happen because that shit was fucked. I was like,
Yeah.
Damn, like, just you saying that, I can't wait to see it now.
they need to put that in. They need to put in the important parts of an infected thing because that's part of the story. The Rat King part has to happen because it makes no sense if it doesn't. But some of the stuff where, like, they're going through certain buildings because they can't go this way. They got to go through this building, and they have to put their masks on because there's spores all over the place. That wasn't really needed, So they hit all the major points. I agree with Sam 100% that it's not. But a lot of zombie movies are not about the actual zombies. It's about people in their situations.
Okay. Anything to add on that, guys? Fallen? GQ?
Oh, they're saying that Dido is echoing. That's interesting.
Echo is God mode in a lead. What?
Wow. I'm not gonna read that.
That's all.
Yeah. So the only thing I was gonna say is that I don't know, when you contrast The Last of Us versus like The Walking Dead, the TV show, where I won't say it was every episode they dealt with the walkers horde or anything like that, but it seemed like it was quite often, right? And we barely saw it. It was like an implied threat, but like a whispered threat, but you never really got to see it unless it was like a really dire situation. And that's the only reason why I asked. And maybe we have to take into consideration that The Last of Us also was working with a very finite episode count. There was a lot to get through.
I don't even think it's so much episode count. They
Okay.
were telling a different story. And I think Hand of Omega said earlier, zombie movies, the zombies are not necessarily the whole major focus. It's usually the people that you run into. Because you've seen one zombie, you've seen them all.
Sure.
Type of thing. Especially even in Last of Us. There's a particular, class and set of zombies, but at the end of the day, there still is zombified or, whatever person. That's just, okay, fine. I've seen one. There's different types. That's cool. It's really about the people you run into and how devious they're going to be, how helpful they're going to be, or whatever. And especially with this being based on a game, and like Dido said, hitting certain, points and certain things that, you just have to pull from the game that have to be in the story. I think they had a really good balance of that, because if it would have literally turned into what you see in Walking Dead, where like from episode 1 through episode, what do we have? 6 episodes, 8 episodes, or whatever
I think
it was.
like 6. I think
Yeah,
it was 6
if it would have
episodes.
been all zombie attacks and the zombie attacks, it was like, okay, I'm running it. I've seen every zombie attack possibility.
Right.
Give me something else. And that's what I think they had a perfect balance for it. It's like, okay, you got your zombies and established that threat in episode 1. By episode 3, we hadn't seen zombies for a little bit. I mean, we saw some a little bit here and there, but they weren't the focus. It was like, okay, we're building on this guy taking this girl that he doesn't even want to have nothing to do with across the country and how they're going to get there. And they filled that very small episode count with a very compelling story that weaved in and out of a lot of different types of storytelling, a lot of different genres, a lot of different whatever. And it worked. It's way better than 10 seasons of Walking Dead. I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
I would rather watch, and
Yeah.
again, not even just because of the amount of time it takes, I'd rather watch Last of Us all 6 episodes infinitely more times over than any particular season of Walking Dead. Because Walking Dead just got to a point where it's just like, you guys are just milking it. And I get it. Money is money. but you were milking it after a while. It's just like, dude, after Negan showed up, it's like, you can't do anything else after Negan shows up. I'm kind of done. Nothing you guys do is going to be cooler than Negan. And what happened?
That's true.
I stopped watching when he showed up.
There you go.
I did too. That's actually
me too.
That's actually when I got off. I take that back. I take that back. I actually had left before that, but I returned to watch him, and then I left again. Yeah. So, all right, guys. So, let's talk about the future of the Last of Us franchise. So, because Bella Ramsey let it be known that we probably won't be getting more of the Last of Us until 2025, possibly.
You got to grow up a little bit more.
That's true.
That's like
true.
19 or 20 or something.
It's agonizing.
Ironically, she is the age now that Ellie is in the second game.
Yeah.
She just don't look it, though.
No, she don't look it. Right, 100%. So while it's agonizing to think about that, we have to wait that long. We should also discuss, the franchise, the future of the franchise as a whole, because really they only have one more game to adapt. Like, that's it. Like, they're they're already going to split this next season into two. They're going to split the next game into 2 seasons,
which they can easily do.
Right, which they can easily do.
Yeah.
So, but then what? Like, what's the future of the franchise? I've heard there's going to be a part 3. Yeah. Right. That's what you're saying.
Because rumor has it, according to the people who analyze these games and shows way more than I ever will, is that, like, damn it, I can't talk about that because only me and Sam knows about it.
Try and do it in a very roundabout way.
No, it's kind of hard. Well, the end of the one game, you all know that Ellie's still alive, right? But you watching the end of the TV series, you know that she felt like she had a purpose, and that purpose was taken from her. You can kind of see that. So they're kind of thinking that he may go and get that purpose again, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but we don't know because that's not implied in the second game. That's just speculation on their end.
I got you.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I got you. Do you think this could end up being? So the question is, and maybe this is for Fallen, Sam, you guys can answer this too, obviously. Do you think they're going to try and milk this like Game of Thrones?
Oh, boy, they better not.
I mean, it's
where there's money?
Okay. No. Okay, you're right, money. But I want to say no, only because, like, Neil is a part of making this show. And I feel like his vision for it overcasts the money, hopefully. But again, money, power, that thing, like we were talking about earlier. So hopefully, they don't. Hopefully they don't.
I think the issue you're running into with this one is we all know eventually Joel's character is not part of the story. So as soon as you lose Pablo Pascal, who basically is the biggest star on the show, let's just be real, he is the biggest star on the entire show at this point. As soon as his character is gone, it's a coin flip as to whether or not they're going to try to milk it.
Now, you still got flashbacks, so.
Oh, no, you definitely got flashbacks. But what I'm saying is, once he's not the show front runner, because he would have the power to be like, the story is done. According to this, we've done a great thing here. I'm done with it. I think we should just leave it lie. Once his character is gone and not part of the story, you know how studios are. If this thing is still the #1 show, they're going to try to milk it. And Pablo Pascal is the only person at this point that has the kind of the power to be like, no, guys, I think we're good. Yeah. But again, his character is going to be not part of the story pretty soon. And all those other actors don't have the power he has at this moment. Now, they can walk, but they'll recast him.
See, what you're saying makes sense. But this is still HBO under Warner Brothers we're talking about here.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's the only one that has enough actual clout to, try to basically tell the producers, let's not milk this thing and basically turn the fans against it. But again, his character is on the way out the door, and none of those other actors have the clout he has. Because even if they walk, they'll recast him. So it's not, we'll see. We'll just have to see.
Yep, we will have to see.
We will.
Yep. All right, guys. So we went a little bit over. My bad on that. I think Power is Yours probably to blame for that, but the power is yours now, people. Take it away.
The power is yours.
All right. No more.
The Brady Bunch is
shotgun.
here. Well, in a way.
Okay.
In a way. So what's the first question? You know what? Honestly, I wanted to bring up something that Drew at Geek01 said about The Last of Us earlier. How episode 3 pretty much just destroyed them. Like that was like a very emotional episode for a lot of people. It really was.
Yeah.
It 100% was. Like people thought 2 was bad. And then 3 hit them, and it was just like, oh, I can't keep doing this. I don't know if I'm going to keep watching this show because emotionally it was just hitting.
TikToks of people crying.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Reaction.
Yeah,
absolutely. They did a good job.
Yeah.
They did exactly what they're supposed to do. They introduced characters, gave you an entire arc with those characters, and then took those characters away from you.
So right. So Marcus A64 says, Ken, did your package arrive? No, sir. I do not have it. But if I do have it, like I'll check my mail again when I get back home. And if I have it, then I'll definitely snap, some Instagram photos or whatever.
No, you got to do it in show wearing whatever it is he sent you.
Oh, no, well, I will, but I'll definitely I'll put it out on our social media that we got. Oh, by the way, producer, if you wouldn't mind, put it on GQ real fast. This is the prize we're going to be giving away in our giveaway today.
Oh yeah, you guys are gonna get some to help DC get a little bit of money.
DC
shilling for toys.
Yeah, gonna get 2 graphic novels there.
Two really good
Joker,
ones. Superman of all seasons.
Superman of all seasons,
yes.
and Death of the Family with the Joker.
That Superman of all seasons is considered one of the greatest Superman collections of all time.
Talking about he don't want it. You got to win it in order to want it.
Right. So
you might not win it.
Honestly, I think what is that? Tim Sale, who just passed away, is the artist in Superman.
Tim Sale,
for all
Jeff
seasons.
Loeb,
and Jeff Loeb. Yeah. So, Hand of Omega says, which show should he get an Emmy for?
Speaking of Pablo Pascal,
should he get an Emmy for The Last of Us or for The Mandalorian? I feel like easily The
Last of Us.
Easily The Last of Us.
Last of Us is more of his acting.
The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Well, okay. The
Not
fact
just
that
that.
Honestly, Katie Sackhoff talked about that. She says she really enjoys doing the helmet scenes because she is forced to convey her emotions physically, not just by her face or by her eyes.
Well, they said that
body language.
there's 2 actors, and they said majority of the time Pedro Pascal's not even in the suit. They said
And that's what I thought too.
That's true.
Right?
You could just do a voiceover, easy.
And he does.
Oh yeah, he does. And again, like I said, I all of us in this room would love to be on any Star Wars show.
Oh yeah,
without a doubt.
Oh yeah, even just
including Marcus A64, who before said he wouldn't do anything to be in Star Wars. Yes, you would.
Yes, he lying.
Tell the truth.
He totally lying. He totally lying. He also says in the chat, did y'all discuss the Power Rangers 30th anniversary trailer?
Yes, we talked.
Yes,
about
we
it
did. We talked about it.
Top of the show.
Talked about it a little bit.
Yes, we did. We did talk about that.
Yeah, they talked about it. I'm not a Power Rangers fan.
I was a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fan up until Turbo, and then I was like, okay, I'm done. Because I did watch
I think Zeo was it for me.
I liked Zeo. I liked the second. I watched both movies, Turbo and the other one in the theaters.
Yeah, Turbo was literally like the about face of the popularity of the franchise at that point.
Oh.
But yeah, like I think like after a while, like I was kind of like with it off and on like since then, but I've gained a newfound appreciation for the series in hindsight and what they've been doing in the future, mainly on the original Japanese side, not so much like over here, but there are some American adaptations that kind of stands with the Japanese counterpart, like one of being SPD. So like that's like literally that one and maybe Time Force are like the only 2 that kind of hold up to their Japanese counterparts.
Hand of Omega said, who is the main character of Last of Us? Is it Joel's story or Ellie's story? It's both of their stories until you get to a point in time where it becomes Ellie's story. That's pretty much the easiest answer.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's how they will make it. It's Ellie's story now.
I mean, some people probably already know the big reveal.
Oh yeah.
Because like people spoiled it 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But,
all right. So John Wick tomorrow for MJR for Wolverine. I guess he's going to see John Wick tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
Congratulations.
Yep, that's gonna be a good movie.
Seeing it Saturday afterward.
Yeah, we're seeing it on Saturday.
Yeah.
I have to work that day.
We're seeing it Saturday.
Boo.
Wait a minute. You're able to go with us after all?
No, I couldn't get anyone to cover me.
I'm sorry, not you, Dido.
Yeah, no, when I said what I said in the chat is because when I looked at his ticket, I swore it said 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get off till 6. And I was like, I saw 6. I'm like, well, you guys have fun. And then I read his thing
that's
underneath.
what it was. Okay.
Mhm.
And I read his thing underneath and it said 8. And I looked at it the second time. I was like, oh, it says 8. And I was like, oh,
so
I
you can go, but producer cannot. Unfortunately.
No, I can't. Unfortunately,
Unfortunately.
no. Nah.
Wait a minute. You didn't make the last one either, right?
No, it's 2 in a row.
2 in a row. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna have to make sure that we got to get your schedule together.
I did not see Shazam because I screwed up buying a ticket. This has never happened to me before. I swear.
Oh, please tell the story.
I swear.
Please
it's kind
tell
of
the
like
story.
that.
Oh boy.
It's kind of like that
story.
story where it's like no, I just need a little edge. I just need a little edge. No, but so I wanted to go see it Saturday morning last week, and I looked at my app and it said 10, and I said boom, buy tickets, and then I went to bed, and then when I woke up, I was like, why did that say that was the only show? And so I went and looked at my thing, and it's like, oh, because I'm gonna go at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. It says you have no tickets here. I was like, no, I know I bought these tickets. So I looked at my text message because they message you as well, and it says, oh, you bought the tickets for the 10 p.m. show on Friday.
So you slept through it.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway,
Yeah, I had premature ticket purchases. I swear it never happened before.
I saw the film. The film was fine.
Yeah.
The film was exactly what you expect it to be. The issue I have with Zachary Levi, and I even believe the same thing when I saw the first one. He doesn't play Shazam. He doesn't play Captain Marvel. He plays what Billy Batson should be.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Batson's playing way more mature than he is as a character in the second movie. It's almost like the roles are reversed because Billy, the kid,
Mm-hmm.
is literally
kind of mature.
Yeah, he's way more mature than what it's like. Shazam is supposed to be childlike in his innocence, not his act in how he acts around people.
Good point.
He's childlike and innocent. That's
Right.
why
he's
they
got
had
purity.
That's why
Purity
they
of
had
heart.
that episode in the Justice League when him and Superman fought.
Yeah.
It was like, dude, you legitimately will not give this man a chance because of your own hubris and your own bias against him. I can't be part of the Justice League if this is how you guys are going to be. So he legitimately was being like that kid-like innocence and all that, but he's not a dumb kid in the sense that he doesn't act like a dumb kid. That's what I hated about those movies and how they had Zachary play him. Like when he turns into Shazam, he's more mature in body, but he still thinks along the same line that the world is an innocent, pure place, but he's not stupid. And that's the only thing I hate about how Zachary Levi plays him. Everybody else did fine.
Yeah.
It's like, I think everybody had that same issue. And it's like, I guess it's the same thing with the second movie. It's just like between the two, they don't know where to meet in the middle between both actors, because again, they have to be on that same wavelength. Billy Batson is still this Billy Batson, regardless of the form.
Right.
And they do play like two completely different characters. And it's just like, I don't know, because I don't know if it's necessarily like Zachary's fault or if it's just they just didn't get the right kid.
No, it's the director's fault. It's the director's fault because the director needs to pick up a comic and like, oh, he's not a goofball when he turns into Shazam. Okay, let me direct this a little bit different, and that's essentially the problem of the film. The film itself is fun. I enjoyed Helen Mirren, Lucy Liu, the new girl that's playing the third
Rachel
sister.
Zegler. Yeah.
All of them were great. All of the Shazam family were great. All of the other supporting characters. It's just Zachary Levi's portrayal of Captain Marvel is really annoying.
Right. So, real quick before we do the giveaway and then get out of here, Rachel Zegler made a point to talk about how the negative reaction or the negative reviews kind of helped torpedo this show before it ever came out. And it just seemed like she was saying that a lot of people are hating on anything that is just fun. Like they feel like everything has to be so serious, so dark and so moody, where this is a lighthearted entertainment, kind of family fun superhero movie, and people seemingly were hating on it just to hate on it. But when they went to see it, like GQ said, it was just fine. There was nothing wrong with it. What do you guys say to that?
I really think that with fandoms these days, there's no in between with anything. So it's like if someone doesn't come out of something absolutely loving it, it's automatically trash. And that's the climate that we have right now in fandom. It's like I was the same. I felt the same way when I went to see what was it, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Wasn't a great movie, but for what it was fine. I would have gone with some different creative decisions, but people like are completely ragging on the movie like it was the absolute worst thing to ever come out. And it's just, the thing is, hyperbole is just running rampant with fandom these days. And of course, everybody treats Rotten Tomatoes like gospel, and that doesn't help either. So and it's annoying. It's really annoying, but that's the state of things right now.
Yeah, people have gotten cheap too. That's the other side of it.
People have gotten cheap. Yeah,
people have gotten very cheap because there was a time when you didn't have the option to stay home and watch these films within a reasonable interval. Nowadays, movies come out so fast. Like, for example, Operation Fortune was the name of that movie with Jason Statham.
Mm-hmm.
You can find that online as if the digital copy has come out. Like, you can find that movie already. That movie came out 2 weeks ago, basically.
Wow.
And it's like there was a time when Endgame, okay, you might find you can find a garbage bootleg of Endgame, but Endgame, you better go to the theater to see if you want to see this movie and actually not be spoiled by anything.
Right.
RoboCop took what felt like a year to come out on home video before it actually,
Oh, the good old days.
Yeah, before it actually was available.
Yeah,
Movies drop so fast now to the home market, and obviously our TVs are way better than they used to be. You don't need to go to the theater, and I think that's kind of the issue. And people have done all of that.
To that point, to that point, I believe that Disney is going to 100% modify that hits Disney Plus in 90 days window or whatever it is, because there's a lot of people that skipped Ant-Man and the Wasp because they knew all they had to wait was 3 months and then it'll be on Disney Plus.
It's like you guys are getting a movie at home when we say you're gonna get it at home. We ain't giving you no time frame, no nothing. You just gotta, You just gotta you either go to the theater and see it, or you're gonna miss out for a while.
Yeah.
I think they need to offer some kind of incentive to make people go to the movie theaters. I remember when I was a kid and I would go see like Pokemon movies, and they would offer you like exclusive cards and like special stuff to go see that. If you want people to go to movie theaters, you have to make it like worth, first of all, seeing people in public. Second of all, paying the money to go do it. Third of all, paying food money to be at the theater. Like, make it worth my while.
That's a tough sell.
That is 100%
It didn't help that
sell.
AMC decided to upsell seats depending on where you sit either.
Right,
Yeah, they're doing whatever you can to try to make us not want to go to the movies.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring this prize wheel on.
Okay, let's do the prize wheel. Let's spin the prize wheel.
Hakeem said, "Preach, Sam, preach."
Let's spin the prize wheel.
All right, so there's
who's
the
gonna
wheel.
get?
I guess everybody's name, everybody that's chatted has populated the wheel. We're gonna go ahead and get that thing and spin. Wheel of Morality. Turn.
Oh, that was a great show. Animaniacs.
We should learn.
Who won it?
Who was that?
Something won.
What is it?
Something won. Druid Geek won. Is
Hey, man, follow the show and won a prize right off the bat.
Follow the show and wins a prize. So
Druid
Geek
still
01.
in
Oh
the
wait,
chat?
do they get both of those?
Yeah, they get both of them.
They get both of them. All right.
Let's send a careless whisper to Druid.
Yep, Druid Geek. We're gonna go ahead and we'll send you a whisper real quick, and then just give us your deets, and we'll mail this off to you.
Get that government name.
Yep. So, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Culture Junkies Live. Next week's show, man, it's going to be quite the discussion, because next week we're going to try to define what is woke in popular culture. What does that even mean? Man,
Fallen, you'll be there, right, Fallen?
Yeah. So we need all hands on deck. People that really can help us nail this down and demystify this whole thing, because apparently even people that are writing columns in Newsweek, they can't manage to do it. So we'll take a stab at it right here, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central next week on Culture Junkies Live. Any final thoughts before we bust out of here, ladies and gentlemen?
Slippery Sam Santana.
There you go. There you go. GQ was right on the money with that. Right on the money. All right, guys. We hope you had a great time enjoying Culture Junkies Live. Once again, thank you to all of our new followers and friends. Congratulations to Drew Geek 01 for.
Thank you, Takeem.
Appreciate all the bits.
Yeah,
Please.
appreciate all the
them.
bits and stuff like that. We had a lot of fun entertaining you today. Hope you enjoyed it, and you go follow us on some of our other socials, like our YouTube channel, which the replay will be up tomorrow at some point if you've missed it, any portion of this one. So for my friends, the Great Adakuji, GQ, Fallen Marvel, Samtaro, and the Double Girl, the captain of the ship, we'll see you all next week. Have a great one. Go see John Wick.
Bye.
Make sure you go see John Wick,
Bye.
please.
Bye.
Go see John Wick. It's definitely going to be worth it. Rest in power to Lance Riddick.
Tequila,
Yes.
more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
Yes, sir.
Those were the days of the wrestling
All
where
right,
they
let's
were.
I
move
can't
on.
wait for next week.
Those were the days.
Can't wait for next week. What's next week?
Ooh,
Our topic.
Oh
Our
yeah,
topic.
that's right.
That's gonna be
you're gonna be on the mic for that one, aren't you?
I sure will.
Oh, she's gonna
That's
be on the
gonna be
mic.
a fun one
Well.
after the couple of weeks I've had.
Yes, he's been assailed on social media by a lot of right wingers on his
Really?
on his
Would
fa-
you-
on
Are
his
you
Facebook fan
serious?
page.
You really got to be on next week.